Welcome to REIMindCoach, where we bring you the latest in real estate investment opportunities and resources. Today, I'm here with Tony Diaz, the founder of FlipIQ, which is a platform we'll be talking about today. Tony is a real estate professional with over 30 years of experience in the real estate investment, brokerage, and technology spaces. Him and his team developed and operate FlipIQ, which is a complete real estate investment ecosystem that seamlessly brings together inventory, resources, and construction management services. This platform eliminates the usual friction in real estate investing, as well as empowers agents, operators, wholesalers, lenders, and service providers to collaborate and close more deals more profitably. Welcome, Tony. It's so good to have you. I'm really excited about this. So my first question for you, my friend, is tell us, what are the industry problems in the real estate space today? What do you see?
Thanks. Thank you for having me. I think that is the core question. For me, being in this business 31 years, it comes down to one thing, and it's relationships. Once you have the relationships, obviously you need to have systems and processes. But ultimately, when you see what we are working with right now, everything's fragmented. Everybody has to worry about the three pillars, as I call it. You have to go find inventory, you have to have systems, financing, and then you have to run out there and do construction management. So ultimately, you require all those three things in order for somebody to be successful. And I find that as you're trying to grow, especially when the systems and you're trying to stitch together everything, it just gets really complicated. And you end up getting stuck in the process, not the art of the flipping itself.
I like that, the art of flipping. It really is. I know you've been doing this for a very long time. You and I have worked on quite a few deals together. And I remember the first time I met you, you had these 4 screens in front of you and you were running this tech stuff. And I'm like, nobody's doing this in this space. You were the first one. This was maybe 20 years ago or so. And you were very innovative in that. And this has been a huge part of your business for many years. I mean, this is how you've been making money, is using technology to really bridge the gap in this, like you said, fragmented space that we have. I think it's, with all the technology that we're still seeing the need for the glue, the need for the interaction. And I like how you said that it's all relationship driven. As much as we like AI now and technology, it still can't get away from the relationship part of real estate. I think that's something that you taught me, my friend. You can't take our relationships out of real estate. And I love that. So tell us more a little bit about this FlipIQ ecosystem. It does sound intriguing. And what are these 3 pillars more specifically?
Any type of technology processes, they're all born out of necessity. So as we're going out there and trying to figure out, okay, how do I get in front of the agents? The first pillar, and pretty much the most important, is inventory. And if you look at that necessity, it's not an investor inventory issue. It's an inventory issue for the agents as well. So one of the things that we really looked at, and when you see how we designed this, it came down to not how do we make money out of the system, is how do we empower the most people? And I really believe that's where we make a difference. There's a lot of great platforms out there. Some of them are good, some of them are not. To your point, you got to kind of connect them all. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we designed this to be able to provide value for everybody involved. And that's when we saw this thing go from, hey, this could work for us really well, to we can help others, to actually, I truly believe we're going to change the market. And I know a lot of people have talked about disruption and being able to go out and do this or that. We will, because it's about empowering the people in the ecosystem and being able to start with the inventory. So when we talk about inventory, we know the gatekeepers are the real estate agents. Obviously, you can go throw a bunch of money, go after the seller direct, which there is some good money there. You just have to go through a learning curve. What we see, a lot of these people are going to agents, right? And it's all about relationships. Yes. If I go to a real estate agent, if I text them or send them an email and say, hey, I'm an investor looking to buy a property, all I'm doing is just adding to their frustration of getting the robocalls and the texts.
Right.
And these people are fed up with it. You call an agent that says, stop calling me. And you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to find out they don't know who you are, right? They don't know if it's a machine. Right? So these people are tired, they're getting overwhelmed, especially if they're top producers. And we're shifting the approach. It's not about what can I get from you, is how can we bring value? And if
Right.
you approach it from that perspective, what is the most important value for an agent to be able to get paid? How do they get paid? Listings. What we've done is I can't disclose who it is, but these are companies that are national. You know the brands. They're the big operators out there that are doing lead generation. And these people see the value not only in our technology, but the data that we have, which is just, in my opinion, I haven't seen anything out there as good as this. And obviously, I'm a little bit biased. I just haven't seen a system that has this much information that is so relevant. And the point is, the agents are receiving leads from homeowners looking for a cash offer. The problem is, generally, these lead generation companies go find agents that are successful, right? They're getting listings. That doesn't mean this agent knows how to provide a cash offer. So what happens is these agents are turning around and telling that homeowner, I want a listing. That person's saying, where's my cash offer, right? So the lead generation company is not getting paid because the agent's looking for a listing. And that homeowner is walking away and they're going to another cash buyer, another iBuyer, looking for the answer, which is something the iBuyers have done a really good job educating the homeowner that there's an instant offer, right? We all know, especially if you're in the business, nobody ever gives their house away. So at the end of the day is, how do you provide value to this homeowner without forcing the agent to bring them into a contract? So that's where our magic happens, right? So lead generation company brings a cash offer to an agent that understands and works with investors. They put the property in the platform. We give them an instant offer and we give them options, right? So the instant offer to me, it's education for the seller. And what I mean by that is, this is the number, and does your necessity require you to sell the house at this price? We all know, again, we've been in the business long enough. Nobody ever gives anything away. The answer most likely is no. I want more, right? What's the thing we all hear? Zillow says my house is worth this.
Right.
So now we have to be able to educate the homeowner. One thing that is very important, people are more tied to the fact that they want to know they sold their house for the right value than the number itself. And if you think about it, is people want to make sure they're not getting ripped off, right? They don't trust the agent. They don't trust the investor. Data doesn't lie. So what we do is we provide them the Zillow number because that's where their head is at, a real construction cost, an offer, and more importantly, 5 comps of properties that sold to investors. So they can see that's the real number. Once they see that, they have an option. Is my situation require me to sell and take the money now? Or do I move forward now trusting my agents providing me value? So that is the top of the funnel. We move the agent, and now the thing is, I don't have to explain this to the agent because I'm giving them a really nice report. It allows that agent to say, hey, if that doesn't work, why don't we go post the property in a marketplace? It doesn't cost you anything. If that doesn't work for them, and what we use is the wisdom of the crowd. If an agent's telling you a house is worth 500, you want 600, you don't like the offer, you post in the marketplace, you get 20 offers, and they're all like in the 500 range. You know that's wisdom of the crowd. Does that work? Yes, no. Yes or no. If it's a no, then what's your other option? Homeowner, do you have the $75,000 to fix it? No, I don't. We can fix it for you. The agent also gets the listing if we fix it, or ultimately we get the agent to get the listing and move forward. So those options is how we empower the agent. And we know, and this is the magic, and this is really important, we know that I'm not going to buy a property from this agent every time they send me a deal. I want to buy one house from this agent every other year. My model is to have 200 agents, and I can buy one property. That means I'm buying 8 a month. And that to me is a great model for a good operator to be able to wholesale 6 of them, keep 2, and make about $1.5 million a year without breaking their neck. So that's the magic of the first pillar, which is inventory.
So your inventory consists of what? Is it pocket listings and off-market wholesale type deals? Is that what your inventory mainly consists of?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, you have to run through opportunities, right? It doesn't matter if it's coming from a wholesaler, if it's coming from an agent, on market, off market, right? If you think about it, the core value is for the agent to think of you as a resource, which
Mm.
means that they know that you're giving them the information that works for them and the seller, not what works for me, right? So, and because it's data driven, it helps us move forward. With that said, that also allows us to go after aged inventory, off market properties. When we have wholesalers that come in and they can't move a property, we also educate them as well. So it's about being
Mm.
able to do it. And of course, obviously, because of the technology and the efficiency of the technology, I'm not spending 15 minutes per property. I'm able to run it really, really quick. But more importantly, is we're accurate. We're using tax data, MLS data, and that allows us to be able to provide this information very quickly and efficiently, being able to use it as an actual real offer number, not as something that we're just throwing out there. So that efficiency is extremely important.
Like that, Tony. So you're extracting new opportunities because of the technology and the education that you're providing to the sellers and the agents and the wholesalers and whoever's looking at this as far as what the true value is of these properties. So you're trying to be really transparent in your approach, which allows you to actually go after, like you said, MLS listings, age listings, and whatnot. Because I know. From my experience, I've done deals in Illinois, in Arizona, California, Florida, and I've noticed a big difference between like California, for example, which is way more MLS driven as far as the investment space than it was in Arizona. Arizona was more off market driven, and we weren't seeing as many MLS deals coming through the pipeline for investors. But what I noticed that it was just almost like an untapped space. And when I got on the MLS and started applying the same tactics I did in California out in Arizona, I was winning. And I was beating up other people that other people would roll their eyes and say, oh, you can't find a good deal on the MLS. And that's just not true. And I think that that's where your success has come from as well for many, many years. I mean, you've built relationships. I mean, thousands of relationships with agents over the years. And that's what kept you busy. Obviously, you've done some off-market seller direct stuff as well. But I think that you've probably had more success even with the relationship driven. And I like that that's why, or how or I guess is the basis of this ecosystem is all relationship driven. And I love that. Thank you for explaining that. Let's move on to pillar number 2, which is your finance and technology. Explain a little bit more about that, because that's really the meat and bones of this, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, it all has its place. And there's two really important parts of the second pillar. It is the finance itself. We are partnered with a couple of the large hard-money lenders. We're providing 100% purchase, 100% rehab, up to
Wow.
75%.
Wow.
So
LTV. Okay.
leverage. Yep.
Wow.
So to
Take my
standard
money.
rates.
Just take it. Just take it right now. That's amazing, man. That's great.
I'll tell you, and you'll see as you get to the pillar 3 why it makes sense. So at the end of the day, one of the things that I believe we lost in the last 5-10 years is the common sense lending, right? It's become very corporate, very structured. That's a full different conversation. But we've been able to talk to people that understand that this is about empowering the right people that know what they're doing so they can move transactions. If you look at it from a lender perspective, if an operator's efficient, consistent, they're able to move that money 4 times a year. Our average rehab and from in and out is less than 87 days, right? That means I'm in and out 4 times a year. So they make more money out of me than they
Right.
do somebody sitting on a property for 6-8 months, right? Obviously, you see
Yes.
the math there. But the financing is something that is valuable. It allows the operator to be able to do more. But ultimately, the system itself, the technology comes down to being able to use proven systems. When you see our technology, the efficiency that's built in from 2 very important perspectives. One is from the operator owner, that you're able to really empower your acquisition associates to make sure that they're doing the right thing, right? You're not micromanaging. You're not sitting there behind their shoulder, but the data itself tells you how they're communicating. How fast are they getting the offers? How often they're going back? How do they apply the value to the property, right? So all those little variables is not only a coaching moment for you as an operator to be able to train your people, but more importantly, just really being able to support your team and do it in a very efficient way. We have a one button offer, meaning you don't even have to go out and generate the contract. It's a click. It does
Mm.
all the information. We have some, I know everybody's talking about AI, and I've seen some pretty cool systems, but at the end of the day, it's about efficiency, right? So we have AI systems that allow us to be able to follow up on the offer, make sure they got it, make sure that they open their junk. Sometimes it goes to junk. Once they confirm, it helps us follow up. And we don't take the human element out of this, because at the end of the day, it's still about transactions.
Right.
I'm sorry, relationships,
Relationships.
but
Yeah.
it is efficiency driven. So the idea is to send out as many offers as efficiently as possible, to get in front of as many agents and do it in a way that you're not having to back out. So the technology,
Mm.
both from a support, from an operator to your acquisition team, the financing to be able to do more, those are two key processes. One of the things that we do, and I've never quite figured out why this doesn't happen, is the acquisition component from a data gathering perspective is never shared with the lender. So if you really look at it, the
Mm.
lender gets to essentially have a desktop evaluation and not take this as a true partnership. Because when you see what we build, the ecosystem is about reinforcing and providing value. And value to me is not just the finance. What if the lender has information about that property? What if I'm collecting data and I'm able to share it through our platform to the lender? So
Mm.
ultimately, the key is to keep the operator informed through resources that can also be shared with the lender. So that what happens from a lending perspective, they can see transparency beyond any current system or process,
Wow.
allowing them to know that the operator's healthy, properties are getting done quickly, and they can provide feedback to make sure that these operators are not going to get in trouble. Again, being in the business this long, I can tell you every time I get my butt handed to me is for two reasons. I grow too fast and I get out of my buy box.
Mm.
And that always gets you in trouble. So because we're focused on efficiency, picking the right properties that fit the buy box, and resources, one thing I cannot replace is the knowledge of that operator. I can go get a construction manager person. I can go out and get a person to help me find the deal. But what we're doing is we're empowering that person that has the experience to make those buy decisions. They have the
Hmm.
highest vested interest to uh, gain the most, but they're sitting there not having to worry about chasing the agent relationships,
Mm.
worry about, did my person call? Where's my capital? Right. And then we'll get into the
Right.
third pillar here, but ultimately, this is what allows the operator to do what the operator does best, which is reinforce that relationship by providing value through their knowledge. And we bring them the inventory through the agent relationship, so they don't even have to go and worry about that. That's brought in. The technology, full on from A to Z, it does everything. The financing, and then we'll get into the third pillar here, which is the construction management component, and we're very excited about that. So think of this as I call it the Subway sandwiches of flipping. And it's not necessarily that they're the best sandwiches, but we know they make a lot of money. So
Yeah.
that's the key, right? It's about being efficient and making money and providing that experience that we built through the resources to give that operator the true value. I'm going to add something here that's important. So I have some amazing consultants. I got some people that, again, I'm not going to share names here, but as you guys get to know us, you'll know who they are. But these are people that have exited a couple $100 million companies. These are people that run big franchises in real estate. So they're powerful. They love what we're doing. And the question is, Tony, who is this? What's the avatar, right? What's a persona? And I find it to be two people. It's the guy we're not a coaching company, right? Whether we have some really cool coaching tools and things, but we're not there to teach you how to flip a house. We're there to make you more efficient.
Mm.
The person that understands the market, that has already earned their stripes, they know how to operate. We're taking them to the next level through the resources. The back end is the person. I'm going to be 50 years old, and I can tell you one thing: the most important resource is my time.
Hmm.
And by being able to be part of something that's essentially done for you, where I can sit there and generate $1.5 million plus a year, be able to sit back, enjoy my family, have my time and my vacation, and create an ability to sit there and continue to make money without having to be there. Because as we know, real estate or investing, you're only as good as your last transaction, right?
Right.
So we created a model to be able to empower operators to be able to continue to grow and retire. And that to me is the power of this thing that allows people to be efficient. You don't have to sit there and run every single part of the operation, and ultimately be able to really enjoy time. So those are the two people: the guy that's walking in, that's looking to grow and go to the next level, and the guy that's realizing that it's not about the mighty dollar, but you can still make a lot of money, enjoy your family, and really focus in your trade. Because like I said in the beginning, I do believe this is an art. And once you master it and you become efficient, you gain not just money, but your time. And I think that's the magic of it.
I love that. I do want to talk about operators and what you're looking for towards the end of this conversation, but so we'll come back to that because that's super important. But it seems like to me that this platform that you've created and with all these relationships and resources really, really do empower the operators to do what they're good at, right? And so they has some AI that's working for them, just doing some heavy lifting. You're empowering their team as well to have great data, accurate data, efficiency, right? High communication levels, transparency as well. And that makes them do their job better, which in turn they get paid more. If you have acquisition people on your team, team members, they're going to get paid mainly on, usually a small base with a commission structure, and they need to close deals. They need to bring you deals. And if you have all the data there and you can quickly look at it, and make decisions even faster, that means they're making money faster, right? You're keeping them happy. You're obviously making money faster as the operator. Your hard money lender wants to work with you even more now because you're bringing them accurate data. You're proving to them that you're actually closing these things and turning their money 4 times a year, which is all they care about, right? Those money guys. But then but it does empower the operator because now they have more access to more capital, right? I mean, if the lenders are saying, hey, you're doing a great job on these, can you use more money? How can we help you scale? How can you get bigger? And that, not just hard money lenders, but other kinds of vendors out there, right? If you're buying more cabinets, you're going to get better deals on them, right? If you're buying more appliances, you're going to get better deals. So it's really a scalable, your ecosystem really helps the operator scale. As well as the agents, as well as the wholesalers, as well as the hard money lenders, as well as the title companies. I mean, you really, really did build an ecosystem here. Now let's go to the pillar 3, which I'm really excited about, being in this business myself for a long time. Most of the problems and the headaches, and I like what you said too, if you don't buy right, you're dead right off the get-go. And you're just hoping that that you made a mistake and the market helps correct that mistake. But one of the biggest problems is that everyone watches way too much HDTV, right? And they don't know what construction really entails. And so talk to us about this third pillar, construction management.
So to me, this is probably the most valuable piece for scalability, right? Obviously, inventories come first. You make money on the purchase. The efficiency comes in the processes, right? Making sure everything's you're being proactive, not reactive, and then ultimately at the back of the process is that construction piece. And again, if you notice, we're not taking away the operator from the equation, whether if it's from the comping perspective, decision making. We're empowering them through third-party resources that specialize in being able to give time back to the operator, so they're reinforcing that relationship. That means that ultimately, when you look at how to fix a property, and I think a lot of us have watched the movie Moneyball.
Yeah.
If you guys seen the movie, it's about, you win the game by base run, right? You don't sit there and try to go swing out of your shoes because you get in trouble. Staying in the box.
Right.
So the 3 components of the construction is that you have a lender that's willing to provide you high leverage. You have a construction management team, and this is what's really important. It's an employee-owned construction management team
Hmm.
focused on making sure that the dollar is not being given to the top, but is equally given into the people that are doing the work. So
Wow.
what we do is we give and then we empower their teams of 4 people. The house has a sub demo, windows, roof, pools, and landscaping. And the 4-man team is able to walk into a house, follow a template, same floor, same kitchen, same everything. We're buying properties that fit the box,
Hmm.
which means that we're not going to buy a $3 million house and put, Home Depot cabinets, obviously. We're
Right.
doing the houses that are 1960 and new that
Hmm.
allows us to get in and out in 3 to 4 weeks max. So you're in the market really quickly and you're able to turn your money quickly. What this allows
Wow.
that construction management team to do is they don't have to call and say, Dennis, what type of lamp do you want from Home Depot? And then you get that picture of those 3, right? That is something that it basically is everything's pre-chosen. There's a cost. The construction management team is tied to their schedule and their budget. If they screw up their schedule, their budget, they get hit. They're earning
Wow.
10% of the profit or 10% of the construction, whichever's higher. But
Hmm.
their job is to keep you front row center with the relationship. So when you look at the math, your time and effort is not worth to be running around. If
Right.
they screw up the construction, it's their cost. They
Hmm.
screw up the times, their cost, right? So you have a vested interest partnership with the construction management company, and that to me is huge. The most important part is because we're allowing them to make a decision whether they're going to fix it or not. So what happens? Now you got the lender, the construction management team, and you. When you say, I'm interested in this house, they go to the property, they create a scope of work, they confirm everything, they go to the city and they come back and say, Dennis, I'm in. Why? Because they're your partner.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they're
So they got to
tied to
give
the,
you a green light. Yeah.
yeah. And
Hmm.
here's the reality. This is just human nature. It's not them, it's all of us, right? We're tied to the outcome. If I'm going to get paid on Friday, no matter what, and it's 5 p.m. and there's a game and it's Miller time, I'm plugging and I'm leaving until Monday, right? Let Dennis worry about his transaction. Who cares if he's got a payment? But if I'm
Right.
getting paid because of the schedule, and I know if I can get there and make sure the house is done so it's on the market that Friday, that bottom line is going to change for me. And that is tied
Absolutely.
not to the manager of the transaction, but every single person that is part of that employee owned construction management team. They're not a contractor, they're a
Hmm.
construction management team, and their job is to make it very efficient because they're your eyes and ears on the field. The money, they are the ones that do all the fund control. You still get to approve it. And from a lender perspective, think about this. The construction inspections and reporting is being done by them. So then this way, the lender knows what's happening at the same time you do.
Right. Yeah.
So they know that this person, in a way, is tied to your pocket, but has one job. They have to finish the house,
Yeah.
right? They're
Yeah.
not going to go take that draw and go make a mortgage or go buy another house. And that's where it happens, right? We get, call it greedy or comfortable or hopeful. And we start, hey, we're going to use the draw for this and I'll start tomorrow. I'll leave it next week, right? The risk from a lender is 2 things: investors buying the wrong property,
Hmm.
trying to get cute and get creative, and or trying to do ADUs when they shouldn't, or mismanaging the funds, right? So we
Right.
take that risk away. We give them full access to the reporting so they see real time. And if the house cannot get fixed in 30 days, it gets wholesaled.
Wow.
It's as simple as that. That's why I called it the Subway sandwich. It's in and out. The operator doesn't have to go see the house. If they do, we only recommend they see it once. At the end of the day, we also send third-party home inspection companies to make sure that everything got done. And ultimately, we hand off that inspection to the buyer and say, listen, everything's been fixed. Here's the report. We're not fixing anything. Do you want the house or not? We avoid
Hmm.
people walking in and having sticker shock because the
Right.
HVAC doesn't work, right? Obviously, we all understand that. But think about it from an efficiency perspective. If you're sitting there going, Tony, I want to flip 2 houses a year and make every single dime, this is not for you. This is for the guy that is operating, understands that we're going to focus on the properties that are going to win the game. And ultimately, what doesn't fit, you're just going to wholesale. You're going to sit back. The operators, if you look at the math, they're generating about $1.5 million a year. The money out of pocket is minimized because of the finance. Their time is minimized because we're bringing everything to them. And what do I want out of them? What I cannot replace with a paycheck, which is their experience and somebody that has a vested interest in the outcome.
Right.
So that's why it's a win for them. It's a win for us. It's a win for the lender and everybody. And you said it earlier, and it's about, if you really look at what this ecosystem is all about, is it's a win-win. We all win. The agent wins. Harmony wins. Title, the investor, the people that do construction management win. And ultimately, this is why this is something that I haven't seen out there. And it's because it's designed to empower the guy that's doing the construction, the guy that's doing the acquisitions, and everybody gets to make money. And we got rid of the glass ceiling, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But this to me has been very powerful, and not just powerful, the validation that we've gotten from title companies, the lead generation companies, this CEOs of large companies that we all know about. They look and go and say, hey, you're going to change the game. And we are, because, we're empowering people. It wasn't about how much money can we make, it's how many people can we empower. And you'll see that through this structure. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, it looks like you solved one of the biggest problems in this game is the construction piece. And how many times did GCs come in and left, after a down payment or something? We've seen it all the time, and the lenders get hurt because of that. I've seen that over and over again. I've seen the good and the bad and the ugly in this business as well as you have. So having that piece solved with this employee owned and driven management team is, I think, brilliant. And how they're all tied to the bottom line. Everybody's working together to get this done and to make money and go on to the next one. And I love that, man. I think that is huge. Let's move on to the operators, because I know I said earlier, take my money, but I want to know a little bit more about the operators, and then you can take my money. But as far as the operators, what's in it for the operator? Obviously, you talked about relationships and how you're helping them build relationships and keep them and be efficient with them. You're bringing them more inventory, more opportunities that they haven't seen on their own, with even less financial exposure, right? Because to go to home, direct to seller is really expensive and very competitive, right? For anybody in any market right now. And that's going to continue. And obviously now you're offering them technology, financing, these dashboards, this management software, and also construction. But I think that when you and I first started talking about this, when you started presenting this to me offline, your approach was, hey, I really, really want to empower operators. I really want to help people grow and scale a business, and not just flip them or sell them a house, and then try to get them on the next one and then get them on the next one. You really want to see them grow, and so you're looking for specific operators. And their people as well. So as an operator, they need to bring in a team. They need to have acquisition agents or whatever they're calling them, and some kind of a team. So explain a little bit about what kind of operator you're looking for and how they're going to build a team, or how they're going to improve on their team that they have existing right now.
Absolutely. So one of the things I haven't really got into is I know for a fact we have the most complete and valuable data in regards to knowing every agent, every wholesaler out there that is actually closing transactions, and every flipper. So this data that we put together, that I haven't seen anything as robust as our information, allows us to be very, very specific, right? Obviously, wholesaling in itself, if you've been doing this long enough, you make money in not acquisitions, but dispositions.
Right.
You know that to be able to have consistent, it's all about relationships. The same thing happens in the operators. And when you look at the entire way that things happen, right, the problem with the industry in the industry is when you look at this larger wholesale shops, I see that they've done something well, and it's to create the ability for a young person to come in and be part of something, right? And when you look at why would somebody work with a larger wholesaler and give away the house 75% is because they know when they have a deal, that deal is going to get moved.
Mm.
And ultimately, that's the value of being part of a big wholesale shop. Obviously, I'm not going to throw any names out there. I do a lot of business. I know a lot of the owners, and we're good friends. And again, they've done a great job in being able to put this teams together. But I see two big problems. The first is people are walking in, and we have that 80-20, right? And this is not a problem with wholesaling. It's a problem with generally everything, right? That 80-20 rule we all have heard about. 80% of people walk in and they have the best intentions of the world. They're not disciplined. They're not going to follow through. And ultimately, it's a waste of time for the operator, for the wholesale shop to go train this person to eventually walk away.
Right.
Who's left? That 20%. That's the guy that's doing 2-3 a month, right? That's the guy that's sitting there, that's hungry, that's willing to follow process, that's got that morning routine, that's working out, that's the beast, right? That's the guy that's got the fire on him. But guess what happens to him? That's me, that's you, right? When we figure it out, we're out the door.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
because, they're a bad shop. It's just like, hey, I'm hungry, right? And the reason I got to step 1, 2, 3 is
Right.
because I'm hungry and I'm looking for more and I'm going to continue to drive. And that's what makes the money. But the glass ceiling is what has a problem. What we done is we were able to shift it again, not about how do we make money from as many people, it's how do we empower as many people. What we found is when you take that approach and you get to put something together, when you look behind it, there's a lot of money to be made. And there's a lot of opportunity for us.
Right.
But when you see the true value, your question is how do you really make this work? And what's the true value of this is the key is to go find somebody that is already in a shop that's already doing 2 to 3 deals a month. You're going to bring them in because you as an operator get to see them graduate to an operator once they make you $1 million.
Mm.
So essentially, you're calling this person that that's, you're wholesaling deals to them or they're wholesaling deals to you. You like the guy, they're hungry. He's on Johnny in the spot when it comes to being on top of you. Hey, listen, here's a value proposition. Come on in here. I'm going to show you how our systems are better than anybody's, our technology, our data. Once they see that and they realize that once they make you $1 million, which is roughly about 2.5 years, they get to become an operator.
Mm. Oh, so they don't come in as an operator immediately.
And the reason for that is
Interesting.
because at the end of the day, we're only handpicking the operators that have that experience, that we know that they understand that this is about servant leadership. Meaning, I don't want somebody sits there and says, why am I going to give this guy a chance to essentially become my competition, right?
Right.
That's the type of people that, to me, essentially have that. We're looking for the abundance mentality of the
Right.
person that says, hey, if I help this people, and not just from a mathematical perspective, the way it works is this. We're taking a revenue share of 25% of the wholesale. When that operator graduates, we then split that in half with
Okay.
the operator. So I'll give you the math, really simple. If I get 4 people that are my acquisition, when I make $1 million a piece and they get to graduate, now they're sharing the fee, that 25%. That means if those 4 operators get 4 people underneath that I'm going to help them to make sure they get, I'm generating about 120 grand a month from them being successful. So what happens in our business? If I stop flipping, I stop making money. If I stop wholesaling, I stop making money.
Right.
But if I empower a guy that is hungry, that graduates and made me $1 million, and he has that same incentive, he's going to become an operator. I'm going to be his mentor. I get to share the fee, and now I'm making it's like 140 something grand a month. It's actually 100. It's $32,000 a month per operator that has a 4-man team. And I'll show you guys the math. It's not based on big numbers. It's based on one acquisition person doing 2 transactions a month, averaging out the wholesales at $25,000 a month. That's basically, our numbers are much better than that, but just industry average. And there's a calculator that we show our operators. And when you see it, you realize that empowering those people to graduate and become operators allows you to retire making a lot of money. But more importantly, the servant leadership approach, that's the mentality that it requires you for you to sit there and go, I can actually not have to work, right? Because if you remember, one of the things I said in the beginning was, you're new, you're hungry, you're looking for systems, you're perfect. If your ignorance on fire and you just want to keep every single dime and you're going to go build the world like I try to do myself when I was in my 20s and 30s, I don't want you. I don't want cowboys. I want people that appreciate their time, value relationship, and they know it's about serving others. Because ultimately for me, as I'm becoming a little bit older, I wouldn't, call it even wiser, right? It's about empowering people. That's where you truly get the value. And you empower this younger generation to essentially become a part of your knowledge and your experience. So they are making $140,000 a month. You're making $120,000. And now this is growing. And I rely on those operators to have a vested interest to graduate the younger generation. And now we're creating an ecosystem that is based on empowerment and being able to help each other out. Again, the word win-win, I can't just tell you enough how that was the foundation of this structure. Is how do we make sure everybody wins? So did that make sense? Do you have any questions as far as
it would be nice if we had some graphs another time to show. And I'm sure that, if you're interested, if whoever's listening to this, if you're interested, obviously, contact me or Tony. We'll get contact information at the end here. But and then he has it all laid out. I've seen it myself where he has a whole plan and process, and he will take you through every single number. I did it myself, and I wanted to get as low as possible, as conservative as possible on these numbers, and they were still really, really, really good. So what Tony is referring to is this residual opportunity that comes when you graduate people underneath you. So as you build your team, you can then empower your own team members to go out and become their own operators, and then make money off of what they're doing for as long as they're part of this ecosystem. So you're not selling a marketplace or even a technology. What you're selling, livelihood. You're selling a true career path for people to change their lives and to have a team behind them. So it's not just giving them some really good advice. You're giving them advice from the last 30 years that you've had, Tony, right? When I remember you mentoring me back then, but then also you're giving them all these resources for forever. I mean, for as long as, we can keep doing this. And then they in turn can do the same thing with their own people, right? And then their own people can do the same thing with their own people. It's like what a transparent, pay it forward. Oh, there you go. I love that. A pay it forward platform. Oh, Tony, that you just said it right there. I love that. That's exactly what it is. It's a pay it forward platform in real estate that does not exist. Everybody in real estate, you got to kill your own meat. You got to be really super greedy. It kind of changes you. I remember, being really young and getting into that game, kind of on accident. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can make money doing this. Like, this is a real thing. I remember years ago, before the iPhone even came out, I was doing this. Man, I just told my age right there. But, I remember, how it changed me as a person, in a negative way. The business from, being an agent to a contractor to, dealing with lenders, dealing with it's nice. The money's nice, but, you can really suffer in some ways, with the wrong relationships or being taken advantage of. I mean, I always tell people I know how to make money in this business, but I also know how to lose money in this business, and usually, Tony, if I look back at all the money I lost, it wasn't because I bought bad. It was because I had the wrong relationships.
Yep.
Whether it was contracting relationships, lender relationships that are wrong, agent relationships that are not good, people that are out there just trying to make a buck on you and they didn't care. You're changing the game. You are really bringing to market a real opportunity for investors to be lifelong operators and make money together. I try to poke holes at this system for the last couple of weeks now, and I can't. I've been trying to, and I just can't. And there's always difficulties in new markets and as you scale and things. I get that, but right now you're heavily focused in Southern California. That's right. And,
Well, so I'll tell you something really interesting then is that this thing has gone from a vision, something like I mentioned, I built for our necessity, to trying to create something to go make a bunch of money, then realizing the value of actually the servant leadership concept we've been talking about. What's been really interesting is realizing this is way beyond me, right? And when I
Mhm.
realized that is in order for this to take off, I had to be able to have the right people behind me, and not just the right people where I'm saying a few people here in Southern California. We have national hard money lenders behind us, title companies, people that run national brokerages, right? And again, I can't say any names right now, but ultimately we have really powerful people behind us that they're not asking us to go Southern California. They're asking us to go national as
Wow.
fast as possible.
Hmm.
For us, obviously the support is really, really important. We are starting in Southern California, possibly Phoenix really quickly. And right now, the first 10 people we're bringing them in as part of the advisory board. So if you think of the ecosystem component and the way most of structure is, right, the ownership's the one that makes determinations, creates the monetary structure of who gets paid when, and how. We are actually giving back the community, and the community is the operators, the resources, title, hard money lenders. We are all now sitting on a board dictating how this ecosystem is going to serve us.
Wow.
And that to me is super important. So we are looking for 10 operators. We are looking for people that are not just willing to come in and say, hey, I'm in. We're looking for people that have the experience, the resources. We will be bringing in and becoming a little bit more supportive, maybe a little younger operator that's maybe got a few years on their pocket, and we can still empower them through the resources. But right now, it's all about people that see the value, that can help us see this beyond, hey, I'm going to make money. It's easier for me. How do I take my experience? Like for myself, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm actually stepping down as the CFO of FlipIQ to become an operator.
Hmm.
That's my experience. That's where I feel that I bring more value to the community, and let a real uh, CFO that's been doing this, that can take this national, right? So look at it back from the perspective on operators. Is this people need to know, and they're willing to be part of the board to help us serve others, to help us be able to put this together. So it's not about just making money for ourselves, but how can we really make this a platform that's going to empower that small wholesaler so they don't have to go drop off the deal at these wholesale shops and lose most of it, right? How can they
Hmm.
go out and put it properly in the ecosystem, retain everything, and be able to empower the agents that are walking in and saying, hey, I want to learn how to do this. And they don't have to go get, their head cut off by a coach that's charging
And
a bunch of money, right? So it's about resources, empowerment, and it's not about bringing everybody, it's about bringing the right people. So I know it's a little bit, fluffy and, the touchy feely component, but if you really see the true value, that's what it is, man. And that's why I'm super excited. So we are Southern California, probably Phoenix, but I'm being pushed to grow really, really quickly, to grow, and having those people beside us that can help us make sure that we don't have any blind spots from a strategic growth perspective is key. And
right.
that's happening in all the, title, escrow, hard money, field services, construction management people. That's what this is all about. And again, it's not about how does FlipIQ make money. Is we as a board get to tell FlipIQ how we want to be served, so we can collectively grow and serve others. So that's the key. And as you said, one of the parts, I get a lot of praise, and I believe this gift, this blessing, right, is to be given back. And I think part of the ability to do that is to have people come in and ask the tough questions. So I get a lot of, man, this is great, this is awesome. But I tell people that doesn't help. I need people that are going to come in and ask the hard questions. The people are going to come in and put holes on whatever concept, whatever my blind spots are. And so the invitation here is to come in, give us a call, get to really know the process. And if it's simply like, hey, I'm not interested, but the marketplace, it's free, I want to be part of that, I can tell you for a fact there's value just for you to come in and get to know Dennis or myself, because we are about bringing that, and we want to show you that it's about bringing value. Whether if you're an operator, user of our marketplace, or you're an agent looking to figure out how you can get in the game, there's value there for you as long as you're bringing value to the ecosystem. So I'm really encourage myself to be able to go out and challenge people to come in and help us find what we're missing, and make sure that foundationally we're going to be able to go out and do what we are set out to do, which is help a lot of people.
Yeah, for a very long time. Yeah, so this is a prime opportunity right now that's open for people to come in as an early adopter right now.
That's right.
Come in and be a part of this in a way that will end after 10 first operators, right? These first 10 will be on a board with you and alongside you. Your team and your board right now, that's behind you and that's helping you is tremendous. I wish I could say their names because I'd love to name drop, but I can't do that right now. But it's amazing to see that, and I'm so proud of you because I know you're good at building relationships. I mean, I've known you for a long time now, and I can't get enough of you, Tony. And what I want to tell everybody to make sure to understand is, hey, if you feel like, hey, I want to be a part of this ecosystem, or I want to be part of a team, a bigger team. I want to grow my own business, and I want to have a voice and a say, and I want to help empower others. And if that's on your heart, and that's how you want to look at this, and not just the bottom line, right? I mean, real estate, I remember when I flipped my first house or built my first new construction home, I was like, oh, that was so cool. After about like 8, 9, 10 of them, I was like, now I'm like looking at only the money, and after a while, it just gets old, and it's not that the passion kind of leaves. But I like this because this is more relationship driven. This is very scalable. Okay, so you can go into different markets if you want, and there's just a huge opportunity here for early adopters. So if you're listening to this and you really want to get in on the ground level, talk to us now. And we'll have some contact information. It's FlipIQ, right? .com. It's just FlipIQ.com.
That's right.
And you can read more about the ecosystem and more about Tony and his team. And if you have any questions, obviously we're here to help. But thank you so much, Tony, for your time. And I know that we just scratched the surface. There is so much here to talk about as far as every single pillar and the platform, the marketplace, the pro bidder, and your construction management, how the financing works and structured and all that. There's so much to talk about and discuss, and you have it all done. It's just a matter of bringing in the right people. And I know you have a lot of interest already. So if you're hearing this, don't wait. Maybe pray about it, think about it, sleep on it, but contact us. Tony, thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed this. Is there anything else you want to say before we end this conversation?
No, I appreciate it, Dennis. And once you find out truly why we're doing this, you can understand that there's value here for you. We're very transparent. And once you see not just the information, the systems, and the people behind, you will eventually figure out that it's worth getting involved at one level or another, right? Right now, fundamentally, we're looking for those people that are willing to roll up their sleeves and help us move this forward. Eventually, as you'll see, there is no barrier to entry. So like our ecosystem doesn't have any cost. You'll see why that is. And we don't invite everybody. It's invitation only, which means that if you have to be brought into by somebody, or you have to bring value to the ecosystem. So all those things are the important parts that I think that people really have to understand for them to truly see the value. So that's the point that I think that is more the bigger takeaway. Just really learn what this is about, our motives, and where we're going, and then you'll really see what's in it for you. I appreciate
you said that. Before we end, though, I do like that you said that, Tony. That's a great point. It's offering a free marketplace, some people just roll their eyes and be like, yeah, there's other marketplaces that came and went, right? And I won't even say some of their names. And there's some marketplaces that are still active now, but are super expensive and don't really provide that much value besides just a lot of data that you have to comb through and still go through, and it's not vetted, and you're still wasting a lot of time. And then, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, where there's a lot of resources, but you have to kind of integrate them all together and make them all work together and talk together, which is difficult when you're talking technology, and that's even more expensive. And we've been on that road together before. I think that what's huge here is that, yes, it's free to use, but along the way is how everybody makes money. So if they succeed, then you make money. If they don't succeed, you don't make money. So you want to bring in someone that will succeed so that you can make money also, right? Because the way the platform is being grown organically like this, I think that they'll have more trust in the platform. Like, hey, this person is on this platform and they know what they're doing. They're a seasoned agent, they're a seasoned wholesaler, they're a great lender, right? And they're a good construction management team. Of course, they have their experience. So it takes a lot of the pressure, the unknowns out of the way. And these are relationships that you're coming into. These are already good relationships that you're coming into. You're not starting from scratch. And I think that's important, especially in this business, right? I mean, most people that come in, I know people that first want to get their license in as a real estate because they want to be that landlord, right? They want to grow and transition, but that can take 20, 30 years,
Look at the learning curve we had.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh,
the other thing, Dennis, is one thing that, again, kind of back to the tough questions. We're bringing these people together. We don't make a dime. So when you borrow from the hard money lender, 100, we're not making $1, right? And the reason that's important to know is because you'll get to see the motive. There's $1 to be made for us. And as you said, right, our operators are successful, we're successful. So that's what it's all about, being able to make sure that people are making dollars first. You'll never have to go out and put $1 ahead before you make $1. So that's what you'll see. And like I said, that's the motive. So, man, thank you again. I really appreciate the support and looking forward to bringing the right people, because I know we're going to be able to help a lot of people make a lot of money.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, remember FlipIQ.com. Check them out. And if you have any questions, go to REIMindCoach as well.com. You can ask me questions directly. And we hope to hear, we hope to do another, maybe a series of these videos. Maybe we'll get in more in depth in the technology and things like that. So we'll see as we go. But, and if there's any questions, if you're listening to this, you have any questions that we didn't answer today, put them in the chat or email them to us. And we'll get back to you with some answers. So thanks again for watching. Thank you, Tony, for your time, and much love, my brother. Talk to you later.
Thank you.